Hello, everyone, and welcome to another random bits and pieces segment from my brain. And today, sit a while, for we are playing some more Franchise Hockey Manager 7 with my Tampa Bay Lightning Historical Challenge. Alright, so we're not near the top, but I think we're doing okay so far. Thankfully, back in the 90s, with the way that they were seeding teams for the playoffs, and the fact that there were no shootout and everything, you could make the playoffs with a middling record, which is what we have right now. Of course, it's very early in the season, so I will not be banking on anything just yet. We do have a few injuries. Thankfully, most of them are day to day and should be recovered soon. Plus, we don't play for a few days, so hopefully, a couple of those guys are going to be champing at the bit, like they say in the emails that you got in there, which is an expression that I learned playing this game. Alright, so ahead of us is the month of November for this video. Looks like we're going to be pretty spread out between away and home games. There's that home and home against Pittsburgh that kind of scares me a little bit. I guess we'll see once we get there. I checked at what's available on the trading block, and it looks like Phoenix is going on a fire sale because the best three players by star rating. I didn't check everybody's rating or anything, but best three players by star ratings on the block are in Phoenix, and Phil Housley is kind of interesting. He's 33 and he's still pretty good, but he's hurt right now, so yeah, I don't think I'm gonna trade for him, at least not yet. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Who knows? Maybe a good trade's gonna fall on my lap. That hasn't happened in a while. So we'll see about that. Alright, so let's get started here. Let's see what happens to us. The Tampa Bay Lightning. Magnus Arvidsson has a memorable game. He had a hat trick against Phoenix. Now, Magnus Arvidsson plays for the Kings. He was one of the guys that I liked playing for the Sens back in the day. Suspension over for Rob DiMaio in Philly. He is back in the lineup. And William Davidson is very happy with my work. Alright, thank you, William Davidson. So we have a different owner now. So the previous one was, what, Art Williams or something? So I like this one better. He's already happy. I'm only playing 500 and he's already really happy with me. Alright. Ooh, Josef Beranek is out for 5 months. Fractured ankle suffered against the Vancouver Canucks. Josef Beranek is out for 5 months. Yeah, that's gonna hurt the Oilers. I mean, he's not like the best player in the league or anything, but he's a serviceable player, and now he's out. Memorable night for Derek King with the Islanders. He had a hat trick against the Panthers. Alright, so I have all of those guys. And then Martin Straka is champing at the bit. That's good. He's our best player. He's a point per game. We need for him to come back and be healthy and produce. Memorable night for Peter Sikora with the New Jersey Devils. He had a hat trick against the Rangers. And Boris Mironov is feeling better. Right, so that means that Ryan Smith is not going to be playing that game. Martin Straka is back in, and Boris Mironov should be playing. He was already a yellow cross next to his name prior to the video. Alright, so we are about to play against Washington. Now, as is always the case, Washington is struggling. They are 3-7 so far this season. That's good for 12th in the East. We are 1-0 against Washington this season. Now, let's see if we can beat them on the road as well. Yeah, my coach is dead serious about not playing Martin Straka at center. All right, so Nikolai Abibolin is going to be our starter. Olaf Kolzig is going to be in net for Washington. And of course, as usual, go Lightning, go. Come on, guys. We should be able to beat Washington. And we didn't. All right, so we lost 2-1 against Washington in Washington. We were outshot 40-35. Mikhail Pivanka was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Nikolai Abibulin, despite the loss, was the second star with 38 saves. So that's not his fault we lost. And then Brian Rafalski was the third star with an assist. All right, so Washington scored first in the first period. And then we went all the way to the third period where Washington scored again. And then with 2 minutes and 8 seconds left to go in the game, Alexander Mogilny scored on the power play from Brian Rafalski. It was 2-1 Washington at that point, but we ran out of gas in that one. And we lost this 2-1. Not a good game. Alright, so Eric Messier is hurt in Montreal and he's going to miss 6 months with a partially torn UCL. So your season is over, buddy. See you next year. Jari Lehtinen extends his goal streak to 6 games with a goal against the Sharks. Joe Sakic extends his point streak to 12 games with a goal against Toronto. And Mironov is completely recovered. That's good. And Ron Francis played in 1,250 games in the NHL. Didn't get a point, but that's still a pretty good milestone. 35 years old, Ron Francis, a 5-star player still. All right, we're about to play Chicago. Chicago is 6-3-2, so that's a pretty good record, better than ours. Let's take a look at their lineup over there. Oh, they have quite a few injuries. So Igor Kravchuk is hurt. He's not going to play. Mike Hudson is hurt. Also not going to play. And Ross Courtnall is hurt. Also not going to play this game. And on top of that, Dean McCammon is also hurt and not going to play. And Jeremy Roenick came to camp, not fit for work. So there's quite a few things going on in Chicago here, but they still have a good record. Alright, so Ed Belfour and Ilya Brizgalov in that. Sandy Sazanin, oh yeah. That's true, we traded Ozanich over to Chicago. Of course, for Chicago, he's playing ridiculously well. I don't get it. Like, look at that. With Chicago last year, 45 points in 67 games. That's really good for a defenseman. And this year, he's a point per game. But for me, he had like a point in a million games. Oh boy. Alright, so Andre's using Dan Boyle, Chris Chelios, Scott Lachance, Matthias Nordstrom, Sean O'Donnell, and Davidov on D. Yeah, the D's pretty good, especially with Ozanich playing like that. Yeah. Stu Grimson, Jansson, Matto, Tembievs, Dano, McCammon, Roenick, Shancio, Carpenter, Granato, Vlasak, and Pankov. Alright, I can't say that their forwards are really not all that great. But they have decent D and goaltending, so that can carry you. Hopefully we can do something here. Alright, Ed Belfour is going to be in net for Chicago. We're going to go with Nikolai Abibulin, and that's not good. He has a snowflake under his name. I don't like that. And we lost again, 3-1. Oh my god, are we going to be dropping this season as well? I hope not. My team is not that bad. Alright, so Chicago outshot us 34-31. Jeremy Roenick was the first star with a game. He had a goal and an assist. Boris Mironov was the second star with a goal. And Tony Granato was the third star with an assist. 14,440 people in attendance for this game. Chicago scored twice in the first period. It was 2-0 Chicago after 1. Then in the second period, Boris Mironov scored from Marcus Naslund and Alexander Mogilny. It was 2-1 Chicago at that point, and then they scored again, made it 3-1. Nobody scored in the third period, and we lost this game 3-1. All right. Sushinsky improves at center. That's good. God, what am I? My D is not that good. We allow many shots. It shouldn't be that bad. I'm not sure. I already made a coaching change. I don't know what to do anymore. Maybe I have to pick up this guy, Vasily Bobrovnikov. Yeah, I won't pick him up. Joe Nieuwendyk reaches 500 assists in his career with an assist against Nashville. So Joe Nieuwendyk is 32. He is a 3-star player. Joe Sakic extends his point streak to 13 games with 2 goals and 2 assists against the Oilers. Pretty good game for Joe Sakic. Ladislav Lubina is available. Yeri Lehtinen extends his goal streak to 7 games with a goal and 2 assists against the Kings. Strong game for Jaromir Jagr. He had 4 assists against the Bruins. And Ryan Smith is maybe coming back soon. That would help. All right, we're about to play the New Jersey Devils, who are struggling as well. They are 4-6-1. That's good for 10th in the East. Let's take a look at their lineup. We have not played them yet. All right, so no injuries. All right, so they have a Martin Brodeur that is, in the prime of his career. In net with Shevtsov. Then on D, they have Brad Bombardier, Roman Amerlik, Jason Smith, Scott Stevens, Chris Phillips, Tommy Albeline, Scott Niedermayer, and Trigg. Okay, that's not bad. Tom Chorsky, Jeff Friesen, Zilipukin, Kapanen, Jean, Rolston, Skrudlin, Yell, Sikora, Boson, Lemieux, McLean, and Guichet up front. That's not a bad team. I'm afraid they're going to start turning it around here against us. So is Ryan Smith playing? He is not. Come on, guys, we can do this. So Oleg Shevtsov is going to be in net for New Jersey. We're going to go to Nikolai Abibulin. It's a win. All right, we needed that. So we won this one 3-1 against New Jersey. We outshot New Jersey 32-28. German Sitov was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Stefan Yell was the second star with an assist. And Valery Bury was the third star with 2 goals. 14,327 people at the Amalie Arena for that one. So New Jersey opened up the scoring in the first, but then Valery Bury tied the game from German Sitov and Sean Chambers. It was tied at 1 after 1. And in the second period, Valery Bury scored again from Per Gustafsson and Jonas Oglund. It was 2-1 Tampa Bay after 2. Then in the third period, Teppo Numminen scored from German Sitov and Vili Peltonen. 3-1, the final score. We need for Straka to break out here. He hasn't gotten a point since he came back from injury. Joe Sakic extends his point streak to 14 games with a goal against Calgary. And Ryan Smith might be back soon. That would be great. Oh, Adrian Aucoin got hurt now for 1 to 2 weeks. Okay. You're going to the injury list, and I'm going to recall somebody. Who am I getting back up? Wow. Not only do I have a lot of D's down there, they're all lefty. I have all of my right D's up in the NHL. All right, so let's see. I think I'm going to recall Greg DeVries. And then we'll see what happens with that. Ryan Smith almost ready. Yes, please. That'd be great. We are about to play the Rangers. Rangers are 8-3-2. Really good start to the season for them. They are 4th in the East. We have not played them so far this season. They have no injuries that we can see. Right, so in net they have Fred Brathwaite and Mike Richter. Then on D, Eric Kearns, Brett Edekan, Brian Leach, Curtis Leseshin, Jeff Bukaboom, Terry Cartner, Darius Kasparidis, and Sergei Zubov. Yeah, there's a lot of big bodies and defensive defensemen and a couple good puck movers. So I consider that a pretty good D because they have a very, very good mix of players. Lubos Bartechko, PJ Axelson, Jeff Courtnall, Adam Graves, Chris King, Zizik, Ferraro, Messier, Mara, Turcotte, White, Amante, Cavalier. Yeah, that's a pretty good team. It's not going to be an easy game. Alright, so we're playing at home, so we have at least that. Ryan Smith is back in the lineup. He's going to play with McGillney and Marcus Naslund, so that makes for a pretty good line, if you ask me. Fred Brathwaite is going to be the goaltender for the Rangers. We are going to go with Nikolai Abibulin. Come on, Lightning, you can do this. And we did 4-0. Take that, blue shirts. Oh, yeah. And Abibulin got a fire out of that. Awesome. So a shutout victory here against the Rangers. They did outshoot us, although it's not overly dramatic. 28-22. Nikolai Abibulin first star with 28 saves and the shutout, of course. Sean Chambers was the second star with an assist, and Alexander McGillney was the third star with a goal. 14,511 people were probably pretty happy in the stands. I know I would have been. All right, so McGillney opened up the scoring in the first from Marcus Naslund and Ryan Smith, and then Brian Rafalski scored on the power play from Michael Landzus and Martin Straka. 2-0 Tampa Bay after one. Then in the second, Steve Ruchin scored from Sean Chambers and Scott Young. 3-0. And then in the third, Valerie Bourré from Sergei Brennan and Jonas Oglund. 4-0 Tampa Bay at that point. Pretty good game. I need a breakout game or two from Martin Straka, and Greg DeVries got caught up, and he is hurt right away. It's a playable injury, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Alright, now we have a few days off before we play in Colorado against the Avalanche. That's going to be another tough game, especially with Joe Sakic, that's on fire right there. He just scored in a 5th straight game against Phoenix with a goal, and that was 15 straight games with a point for him. Ryan Smith is completely recovered. Oh, Pittsburgh is trying to reinstate the Team Kangaroo Court. Alright, so Guy Carbonneau is going to be catching another player stepping on the logo later. Right, 2 more days before we play the Avalanche. Nothing of note right now. Wait, that's a playable injury, right? Yeah, okay. Oh, Dominik Hasek has a day-to-day injury. Not the end of the world, but worth mentioning. He's going to miss 6 days. Alright, so we play 2 games in 2 nights on the road. So we're in Colorado tonight, and then we're going to play in Phoenix tomorrow. Colorado, pretty good start to the season, 9-4-1. Of course, they have a pretty good team. And of course, they don't have Patrick Roy, but they should still have a pretty good team there. Oh, they have a couple injuries there. Right, so who are you? Laurent Gras. Is he French? Yeah, Gras. So Gras spelled like that. That's how it's pronounced, by the way, in French. Gras, G-R-A-S. That means fat, or like big. Like greasy big, not just like fat. Like gras is fatty. Gras would be like fatty. Like, bacon is gras because it's very fatty, right? So that's an interesting name. I've also never heard of that player before. But anyway, Then Owen Nolan is also hurt, and he is not going to be playing, of course. All right, so other than that, they have Manny Fernandez and Marty Turco in net. That's all good and dandy, but they're both really young and not very well developed yet. Steve Duchesne, Peter Popovich, Nolan Pratt, Adam Foote, Alexei Gusarov, Aaron Miller on D. Yeah, past Duchesne, there's not a whole lot of puck moving on that back end. Maybe Gusarov a little bit, but probably not. How do they have him rated? Yeah, as a two-way defenseman, that sounds about right. Alright, and then up front they have Kamensky, Lapointe, Ruzinski, Simon, Watt, Forsberg, Ricci, Sakic, Sundin, the fatty guy, Barnaby, Anson Carter, Kovalenko, Owen Nolan, and Vaclav Prospol. Yeah, they have a pretty decent team, except in goaltending. In net, not so much. Alright, let's see if we can win this game. It's going to be tough. So we have Nikolai Abibulin in net for that one. Marty Turco is going to be in net for Colorado. Oof, yeah, that one was tough. We lost 8-4. So defense was not really a part of this game. We were outshot 44-38. Joe Sakic was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and 3 assists. Valery Kamensky was the second star with 2 goals and 2 assists. And Alexei Gusarov was the third star with an assist. Alright, so we opened up the scoring in the first. Greg DeVries scored from Brian Rafalski and Scott Young. It was 1-0 Tampa Bay, but then Colorado scored 3 unanswered goals before the end of the period, so we were down 3-1 after 1. And we managed to tie the game in the second period. So Vili Peltonen scored from Ryan Smith and Boris Mironov. Then Maxim Sushinsky scored on the power play from Ryan Smith and Martin Straka. It was tied at 3 after 2. We didn't look too bad. We even took the lead at the start of the third period. Alexander Mogilny scored his 5th on the power play from Sean Chambers and Mikael Anderson. We were up 4-3, and then the wheels fell off the wagon. We allowed 5 unanswered goals, and we lost this game 8-4. So we completely crumbled in the third period and lost 8-4. Right, so Joe Sakic extends his goal streak to 6 games against us. As we saw, he had 2 goals and 3 assists, so that's 16 games with a point. John McClain played in his 1000th game in his career against Pittsburgh. Didn't get a point. 33 years old. John McClain is still a 3.5-star player. And Luc Robitaille has a great game. He scored 4 goals against the Mighty Ducks. Pretty good game indeed. Alright, and now we play today in Phoenix against the Coyotes. Phoenix is really struggling. They are 1-9-1 this season. And I looked at them in the last video because I wanted to see what was going on with Keith Kitchuk not there anymore. So James Patrick is hurt. He's not going to be playing this game. In net, they have Simonovic and Reddick. They are both 1-star goaltenders. Kevin Dean, Igor Ulanov, Phil Housley, Luke Richardson, Michael Roosevelt, and Frederick Lawson on D. So they don't have Phil Housley on training block anymore, but they do have Olauson. Olauson was also a pretty good defenseman. X-Meter, Brantmeyer, Zamnov, Nizvij, Bullard, Elmanen, Olchuk, Vopat, Holmstrom, Johnson, Jones, Petrov, Selane, and Komutov. Yeah, there's holes everywhere on that team. The D is not too terrible, but there's holes everywhere on that team. Come on, we should be able to win this. Johanenberg is going to be in net for us. Miroslav Simonovic is going to be in net for Phoenix. And we lost 4-3 against a really bad team with a goaltender I've never heard of before. That sounds pretty familiar. We were outshot badly, 35-21. Raimo Elmanen was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and an assist. Vili Peltonen was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Frederick Lawson was the third star with a goal and an assist. Not sure I said it. We lost 4-3. I think I might just have said we lost. Anyway, So we allowed 3 goals in the first period. We were down 3-0 after one. Then in the second period, Vili Peltonen scored from Martin Strecker and Sean Chambers. It was 3-1. Phoenix made it 4-1 at the start of the third period. Then we had Ryan Smith score from Vili Peltonen and Brian Rafalski. Then Scott Young scored his fifth on the power play from Ryan Smith. It was 4-3 with almost half a period to go, but we just couldn't tie the game here. No, that's not good. Oh, now, you know what's not good? Being a Kings fan right now because Wayne Gretzky is out for 4 weeks. Torn hamstring. We have 4 days before we host the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's the home and home that I was kind of worried about. That's coming, and we're just off a few losses. All right, so Joe Sakic had 3 goals and 1 assist performance against Vancouver. So that means goals in 7 straight, points in 17 straight for him. And Yeri Fisher is the guy who stepped on the logo in Pittsburgh. Adrian Aucoin should be back soon. Joe Sakic extends his goal streak to 8 games with 2 goals against the Islanders, and that makes it 18 straight games with a point for him. Darcy Tucker was looked at in Edmonton, and he is not going to be suspended. And now Adrian Aucoin is ready to come back. I don't know that I can get him back. Yeah, he has to wait 3 more days. Oh my! All right, so we're about to play Pittsburgh. They are 13-3 this season. We played them once and lost 3-2. Pittsburgh is first in the East by a decent margin. All right, let's see what we can do. So they're gonna go with Andre Mazin in net, and we are going to go with Nikolai Bibulin, who is back to having a snowflake under his name. I'm gonna close my eyes, I think, because I think Pittsburgh, but the way we're playing right now, I think Pittsburgh can get to double digit in goals. We lost 6-3. Yeah, those 2 games were, penciled losses on the schedule as far as I'm concerned. Look at that. We got trounced in shots 50-15. Jaromir Jagr was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and an assist. Mario Lemieux was the second star with 2 assists, and Sean McEachern was the third star with a goal. 14,800 brave souls still went to the game, although they should have known that we were going to lose that. Pittsburgh scored twice in the first period. Then Scott Young scored on the power play from Boris Mirnov and Martin Straka. We were losing 2-1 after 1. Then in the second period, Pittsburgh scored, made it 3-1 after 2. Then in the third period, Pittsburgh scored, made it 4-1. Then Per Gustafsson scored from Brian Rafalski and Steve Richin, 4-2 Pittsburgh. They scored, made it 5-2. We made it 5-3 with Alexander Mogilny scoring on the power play from Steve Richin and Brian Rafalski. Then Pittsburgh scored again, and that was a 6-3 loss for us. Yikes. We are not doing good. Again. Luc Robitaille has recorded 500 goals in his career. He had 2 goals against the Colorado Avalanche. Oops, I forgot to say the rest, but Luc Robitaille is still a pretty good player. He's 32, I think. Joe Sakic's point streak ended at 18 games. He was held scoreless against the Vancouver Canucks. Great night for Pavel Bure for the Kings. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals against the Rangers. And good night for Peter Sikora, who had a hat-trick as well against the Carolina Hurricanes. Drahomir Kadlec. Okay. Alright, about to play Pittsburgh again. Ugh, I don't wanna. Can we just skip this game? So it's going to be in Pittsburgh, so it's not going to be any easier. We are 0-2 against Pittsburgh. They are still very well entrenched in that first place in the East. They are now 14-3. Oops. We're going to send Johan Edberg in that one, and we're going to face Andre Mason again. God, please don't score double-digit goals. We lost 5-1. Yeah, it was to be expected that I was more than likely going to lose those two games. Pittsburgh outshot us not as badly as the previous game, 35-24. Jaromir Jagr was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and an assist. Mario Lemieux was the second star with a goal and 2 assists. And Sean McEachern was the third star with 2 assists. Pittsburgh scored 3 times in the first period, so they already were up 3-0 after one. And then they scored 2 more times in the third period, made it 5-0, and then Sean Chambers scored from Jonas Oglund and Alexander Mogilny. 5-1 Pittsburgh after 3. Yikes. And Sean Chambers is hurt, although this is a... Yeah, he can play with it. How long is it for? Okay, day to day. Strong game for Doug Bodger playing for Nashville. He had a goal and 4 assists against the Islanders. Wow. Greg DeVries is feeling better. Adrian Aucoin is ready to come back. I'm going to send Greg DeVries back down. Alright, couple days, and then we're going to host the Boston Bruins. We can salvage this month if we can win the last 3 games. We're still going to be under 500, but that's still going to be manageable, I think. But we need to win those 3 games. Alright, so first up is going to be the Boston Bruins. They are 9-8-2. That's good for 6th in the East. So Sergei Zoltak is hurt. He's not going to be playing this game. And Peter Puker, wow, that sounds terrible said like that. Pucher, maybe? This guy, Peter here is also hurt. He may or may not play. So in net, in net Boston has Fizet and Pelletier. Now, Pelletier did win the goaltender of the month last month. Now, Gruden, Sutton, Sweeney, Wesley, Clem, Murphy, Ray Bork, and Jeff Norton on D. Ted Donato, Joey Juneau, Kreshkov, Stampel, Oates, Molinsky, Pucher, Comrie, Charkowski, Denmarsh, Hines, Marshall, and Glenn Murray. Yeah, they have a decent team. Not sure about their goaltending, though. I'm talking like, my team is a world beater or something, It is not. Right, so Jean-Marc Pelletier is going to be in net for Boston. He has 5 fires. We are playing with Nikolai Bibolin in net, who has a snowflake. Oh yeah, we won this game 7-2. That's a bounce back game if there were ever one. And we were outshot 37-30 in that one, so they didn't get good goaltending. We did, and we scored a bunch of goals. So Vili Peltonen was the first star of the game. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals. Steve Ruchin was the second star with a goal and 3 assists, and Boris Mironov was the third star with 2 assists. 13,717 people in attendance for this game. Boston scored first. It was 1-0, but then Steve Ruchin scored on the power play from Alexander Mogilny and Mikael Anderson, tied at 1 after 1. Then in the second period, Brian Rafalski scored on the power play from Alexander Mogilny and Steve Ruchin. Then Valery Bure scored his fifth from Boris Mirnov and Jonas Oglund. It was 3-1 at that point. Boston scored before the end of the second, made it 3-2. And then heading into the third period, we scored four unanswered, including a natural hat trick for Vili Peltonen. So it was Peltonen from Teppo Numminen and Ryan Smith, then Peltonen short-handed. That was his 10th from Boris Mirnov and Steve Ruchin. Then Vili Peltonen again from Steve Ruchin and Mikael Anderson. And then finally, Valery Bure from Sergei Burdin and Adrian Aucoin. That was a 7-2 victory. And Streka didn't get any points. That's disappointing. I'll take the win, too. Oh, Alexander Mogilny is hurt. That's his turn. How long are you hurt for? Day to day. Okay. Oh, Sean Chambers is hurt as well. Oh, no, he was already. Okay. Now, can you play with that? I guess we're about to see. Alright, so we saw that. The hat trick from Vili Peltonen. And then Scott Pellerin is suspended in Nashville. He's going to miss one game. Alright. I guess Mogilny sits for a couple games. Now we have a couple days before we host the Florida Panthers. Alright, so Martin Prochaska was hurt with Carolina. He's going to miss 6 months. Season over, buddy. With a torn ACL. Mark Gregg is out as well in Carolina for 6 months as well. Wow. With a partially torn UCL. Wow. So in the same game, Carolina lost 2 players for the rest of the season. That's crazy. Ray Shepard tallied his 400th goal in his career. Got a goal against Anaheim. Ray Shepard is 32 and still a 3.5 star player. Scott Perrin is back from suspension. And a memorable night for Sergei Berezin playing in Philadelphia. He had a hat trick against the Islanders. Alright, so Sean Chambers is doing better. And we are about to host the Florida Panthers. Now, the Panthers are 7-8-4 this season. That's good for 8 in the East. We lost the first meeting against them this season 2-1, so we're going to try to avenge that. We also slid all the way to 10th, but by beating the Panthers, we can make it all the way to 7th. So that's kind of an important game here. Panthers are going to go with Kirk McLean in net. I'm going with Nikolai Abibulin. Come on, team. Come on. Yeah, we won 4-1. All right. We outshot Florida 34-25 in that one. German Titov was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Teppo Numminen was the second star with a goal, and Maxim Sushinsky was the third star with an assist. 14,441 people in attendance for the game. Scott Young scored first in the first period from Martin Streka and Ryan Smith. Then Vili Peltonen from Steve Ruchin and Mikael Anderson. 2-0 Tampa Bay after 1. Nobody scored in the second period. Then in the third period, Florida scored. It was 2-1 at that point. Then Valery Bure scored from German Titov. And then Teppo Numminen scored in an empty net from Maxim Sushinsky and German Titov. And that was a 4-1 victory. All right. Alright, so Sean Chambers is completely healthy. We kind of need to have some healthiness on the team. Alright, and we have one more game here in November. It looks like that's going to be a little bit of a shorter video today. And that's okay. Very few people watch hour-long videos for this. If you do, well, thank you and congrats to you, but I understand that not everybody does, and I get it. All right, so Theo Fleury reaches 300 goals in his career with a goal against Chicago. 30 years old, Theo Fleury, still a four-star player. Prokopiev is not suspended in Florida, still in the lineup over there. Oh my God, the Hurricanes are dropping like flies now. Zardy Zalapski is hurt for 4 months with a torn back muscle. That's crazy. So they lost Prochaska, Mark Gregg, and now Zardy Zalewski. Now I understand none of those are like superstars that are five, stars or whatever. Those are still regulars in the lineup that they have to replace with more than likely players that are not as good. And Dave Ellett not suspended in Toronto, still in the lineup. And now we are about to play the Buffalo Sabres for the first time this season. Buffalo is kind of struggling. They are 5-9-4. That's good for dead last in the East. Oh, the Leafs had a decent month. Remember, they had 1 point at the end of October. So definitely playing better this month. Let's take a look at Buffalo, see what's going on here. Now, Keith Carney is hurt. He's not going to be playing. Then, they have Yevgeny Nabokov as the backup. He's only an alpha star. So Dominik Hasek is really good right now. Grant Ledyard, Mark Tinordi, Matthias Olun, Wade Redden, Eric Brewer, Bill Older, Philippe Boucher, Nemesnikov, and Slaney on D. The D is not terrible, so that I don't think that's part of their problem. Dave Andreychuk, Lavach, Pandolfo, Sullivan, Zamiener, Olzinger, Kozlov, Weimer, Audetberg, and yeah, I think that's where the problem is. That offense is not all that great. I know that they have a few 3-star players, and like Steve Sullivan is okay, but Jay Pandolfo is a defensive forward. Or at least he should. Yeah, he is. So he's kind of overvalued as far as the star rating goes. Yeah, Buffalo is not that good. And their record indicates that. So if we can beat Buffalo as well, we're going to have won those last 3 games. Like I said, we probably would need to still stay relevant. So let's see what happens here. So Yevgeny Nabokov is going to be in net for Buffalo. We are going with Johan Edberg. Come on, guys. Yes, a 6-3 victory here. First win of the season for Johan Edberg. So we needed that. We outshot Buffalo 37-29. Brian Rafalski was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Steve Richin was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Ryan Smith was the third star with a goal and an assist. 14,886 people in attendance for the game. Ryan Smith opened up the scoring in the first period from Brian Rafalski and Per Gustafsson. Then Buffalo tied the game, so it was tied at 1 after 1. In the second period, Steve Richin scored his 5th from Vili Peltonen and Adrian Aucoin. 2-1 Tampa Bay after 2. Looked pretty good. And then a bunch of goals in the third period. So German Titov scored from Sergei Brin and Brian Rafalski. Then Buffalo scored a goal, made it 3-2. Then we scored twice. Marcus Naslund scored from Teppo Numminen and Valerie Bure. Then Martin Straka from Ryan Smith. It was 5-2. Then Buffalo scored, made it 5-3. And then Mikael Anderson scored in an empty net from Steve Richin and Sergei Brin. 6-3, the victory. All right, so that's the scouting from Don Murdoch. I'm going to advance to December. All right. So the players of the month were Joe Sakic and Ed Belfour. On name recognition alone, I'm not going to go and dig in their stats, but on name recognition alone, I don't have a problem with that at all. 2 top players at their positions. All right, so that does it for November. We are 6th in the East. I understand we have a losing record, but I kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, that in the 90s, having a losing record, you could still make the playoffs. Of course, more than likely you're not going to go far, but who knows. So, yeah, we are 6th, but we don't have like a whole lot of wiggle room there. The 9th place Senators are 1 point behind with 2 games on hand. So we cannot rest on our laurels. We're going to need to start winning some games a little bit more consistently. That's going to start. Oh, we don't have the full Western Canadian trip planned there. We're going to be playing in Calgary and in Edmonton, but we're not going to go in Vancouver for some reason. Okay. So, yeah, so that's the standings in the East. Those are always on my screen, so I always take for granted that if you want to, know what's going on there, that you can look at any time, really. Now in the West, oops. In the West, Detroit is first. They have 2 losses. Wow. Then the Kings, Avalanche, Chicago, Dallas, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton. And now the worst team in the league is the Mighty Ducks with 10 points. Now, Toronto started to do a little bit better. But yeah. Okay. Now let's take a look at our stats. I don't think it's going to look all that great. Striker really slowed down. Alright, so Peltonen is our best player with 18 points in 22 games. Then Steve Ruchin has 16 in 22. Straka 15 in 20. Mogilny, then Ryan Smith, and then Brian Rafalski is our best defenseman as far as scoring. Scott Young, still hoping for him to wake up a little bit. I mean, he has 7 goals. That's pretty good. 7 goals in 22 games. That's not bad. But that's about a 25 goal pace. He doesn't have many assists, so he only has 10 points. He can do better. Let's take a look in the league. I have a feeling that Joe Sakic is going to be pretty much all over the place. Alright, so Joe Sakic is the best goal scorer with 22 goals. And Peltonen is down there at he's 10th with 12 goals. Best passer, Mario Lemieux and Joe Sakic both have 21 assists, and the best scorer is Joe Sakic. He has 43 points. That's 9 more than second place Mario Lemieux. Alright, let's take a look at goaltenders. Yeah, Bibelin is kind of dropping a little bit, even though his stats are still pretty good. So he has a 931 save percentage. Don't get me wrong, that's pretty good. And he has a goal save above average of 8.15, which is also pretty good. That's 5th. I just think that our defense is not up to par. I really think that's what it is. I don't think that we can really blame Bibelin. I mean, he had, 1 game that he played poorly again, and that was against Pittsburgh. So, can we really blame him for that? I don't know. So, yeah. I guess we'll see what's going to happen with that. I'm also a little bit hesitant to pull the trigger on too many trades because that really hurts chemistry on the team, and chemistry is a thing. And also sometimes I think that I acquire somebody that's really going to help me, and it doesn't exactly happen like that, as we saw with Ozolinsh. Ozolinsh joined my team. I was pretty happy to get him because I really thought that he was going to come in and start producing points on the power play and everything. That didn't happen, and then I trade him away, and then he starts producing right away in Chicago. So anyway, no, I'm not saying I am not ever going to make a trade. I'm just saying I might want to cool down a little bit. I made quite a few trades lately, so trying to see how that affects the team. So we're still in it. We need a good month in December. Hopefully we can get that and get the ball rolling. But for today, that's it. So I want to thank you for tuning in as usual. And if you've liked the video, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And until I roll this game again, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.